What is the sluttiest thing you've ever done? Slept with a guy I knew and had slept with before. It was awful and hands down the worst sex I'd ever had. Texted my male friend about how it was and how sad I was about it. He was really rough and it was verging on rappy. Male friend comes round to cheer me up. End up banging and having the best sex of my life about 4 hours after the worst sex of my life. Edit. Also probably the time I accidentally had an orgy. Edit 2. I love the amount of neckbeards and nice guys this has angered. I feed on your insecurities. Slept with a guy I met while working in a bar and then a few weeks later slept with his dad who he lived with. Some guy on the dance floor said he liked my tongue piercing and what with his Prince Albert pierced D. We could have some really good sex. I said I'd like to try that and we were in bed about 10 minutes later. Not sure I ever caught his name. Two friends of mine who were about to get married asked if I would participate in a threesome with them. So I did. Then went back home where I was still living with my ex-boyfriend while I worked out new living arrangements. He was asleep when I came home. So I crawled into bed with every intention of going to sleep. He apparently had a different agenda and we ended up having sex. So I had sex with 3 people in the course of about 2 hours. Oops. Made eye contact with a girl across the room for longer than 7 seconds. With ankle showing. Edit. See, it seems like it's supposed to be funny but I'm telling the truth. Used to be a bouncer. Had 2 drunk women who were decently attractive hitting on me. They asked for a lap dance to which I refused. She then pulled $400 out of her bra and asked for a VIP. I said for 15 minutes short, to which she agreed. VIPs there were $125 per 15. So we go back and I strip down to my underwear and basically rubbing my butt in their boobs. They spin me around, pull it out and get to sucking. Okay, sure, why not? I've had sex with several of the strippers at this point, so my D being out was not new to me. After the 15, Janelle comes to get me and just starts laughing. So I pull my balls out of her mouth and start getting dressed. She pulls out another $400 and says I should come back home with them. I start to say no, then she says she has several other friends who might like me and a lot of weed. So I agree and take the address down and meet them over there. Skinny chicks, fat chicks, ugly chicks and hot chicks. Were about 20 of them there as I dance around trying to figure out when did I become a male stripper. All of them had my D in their mouth. I stuck it in 8 of them. And came in 2 cause I did not wear a condom. Made $1,200 and took myself to get checked out 2 weeks and then 3 months later. I don't know how I've still never had a STD. Edit. I was 23 then, a year and a half ago. Yes, I did require Viagra, which they supplied. And yes, when I woke up that was the sorest my D had ever been from the literal hours of stuff. I had multiple boyfriends on RuneScape that would give me free things. There was this cashier at a gas station down the street from my house. After talking to her for a few minutes, she had to get back to work. We exchanged numbers so we could finish our conversation. She ended up coming over that night, and after we said hi, she asked to see my bedroom. The guy I wanted to lose my virginity to declined upon discovering I was a virgin. It came out later that he was dating someone else and didn't feel right giving me my first time like that. I would like to note that cheating was apparently a-okay otherwise. A week later I got drunk and ducked his bestie. Give a handjob in exchange for a half-eaten burrito. I once fingered a girl on the dance floor of a crowded bar, went back to her and ducked her to sleep and was still horny. So I chatted with her friend for a few while I waited on my Uber that cancelled, so I ended up eating her out, then going back to the bed with the first girl, then passed out. I left the Airbnb smelling of alcohol, slight vomit, perfume, and regret. Also I couldn't find my socks, so that was fun. I ate out a girl I had a long time friendship with in front of 3 of her friends during her 20th birthday. This thread gave me a STD. I was the mouth at a glory hole set up for an evening. Not sure if this counts, but the relationship I had for a year when I was 14 is something I feel I'll never live down. He was 32. Edit. Thanks for the nice words, guys. I guess I think it made me slutty because of how everyone reacted. Parents disappointed, family ashamed, sent and disgraced to boarding school as punishment, and to make sure I couldn't see him, with complete loss of previously enjoyed privileges. One person came out of that besmirched, and it wasn't him. This was a while ago. Things might have changed. I blew a guy in a Hot Topic once. Blew every guy in my HS baseball team in 1 hour. Till I'm as exciting as a bowl of lukewarm noodles. I ducked a girl for an iPod Touch. Ducked random redditors without even getting their name. Was at the bar with my buddy and there was this drunk married lady probably 40ish who said we should take a ride with her. We did. She gave me a hand job on the ride then said we should find somewhere to park so I literally just told my buddy just to pull over alongside the road. I put the hatch down and ducked her from behind along the side of the road while my buddy watched. She then gave him a blowjob. She dropped us off and we parted ways. Not sure I ever saw the lady after that. Made out with a girl I just met at a party while holding another girl's hand that was into me as well. Had sex with a girl whose hand I was holding. Came back out to the party and started dancing with a girl I was originally dancing with. An hour later we're ducking in the same bed I ducked the other girl in. Then made out with a regrettable 6 when I was at Faced at the end of the night. I had an ex that went to CW Post in the early 90s and I carried on with her roommate the whole time she was there, even after we broke up. XGF asked me about it 10 years later. She actually tracked me down and was all pissed because she heard a rumor. Denied it then. Would deny it now just to avoid the drama. Jumping from one bed to another in my late teens and early 20s was fun though. She still tracks me down to this day and it always comes up. We were together for roughly 5 years and she is married now with 3 kids. Would literally get into bed with her after roommate and I just finished as she returned from class. Then back into roommate bed as soon as she left. Roommate made me shower. The roommate loved that I would go from being inside of her in every way then going to my ex's mouth. I would catch the roommate fingering herself while I banged my ex every night. It was awesome. Roommate would tell XGF that she was heading into the city and would come to my place for weekends. Would even tell XGF that she didn't have a place to stay in city and X would suggest she stay with me because I had room. The roommate and I meet up a couple of times a year to this day. Nearly 25 years later. Slept with 2 separate guys within 2 hours. I was on vacation in Cancun. Met a beautiful Argentinian man one night. We made plans to meet up at 2 PM the next day. Met a guy an hour or so beforehand and we ended up sleeping together. I look at the clock when we finished and it was 1:55. I told the guy I had to go because I had plans. Ducked the beautiful Argentinian guy afterwards. I have slept with not 1 not 2 but 4 other guys GFS. Honestly, people who think guys are the cheaters have not met some of the women I know. I slept with this Jugalette that I met at the ducking train station like 8 hours previously. Just asked her to come over and duck. I was at Faced wasted on Crystal Palace. She was wearing a fedora talking about how she was super excited for the Hollywood Undead concert that night. I gave her the first orgasm of her life. Then I got even more drunk afterwards. Out of shame. My best friend happened to run into her about a year later. I think his story beats mine. Edit. So like a year later my friend, like 18 or 19 at the time, was dating this 15-year-old girl, Joy, right? Well obviously it's not the greatest of relationships, but oh man. Really? He runs into train station girl on the block. Apparently she's still got the same go-getter attitude. Cause he forgets about his fake high school friend for a minute and she sucks his D in an alley at 2 PM on a Wednesday. For shame. Accidentally made eye contact with someone while trying to eat a banana at work. Slept with ex-boyfriend on Thursday night. It just kinda happened, as I lamely told myself at the time. When it turned out this was not the reconciliation I thought it was, I went ahead with plans to see the new guy I'd just started up with on the date we had already set up for Friday, and then again Saturday since we'd hit it off so well. Turns out ex-boyfriend wasn't banking on me having other options, and was elaborately saddened by this turn of events, which led to the Sunday night pity shag. All up, 4 ducks with 2 different guys over the course of a weekend. Had no idea I was such a slut. Took my top off during a walk home from the bar. I wasn't super drunk or anything. The street was empty and I wanted to do something hot for my boyfriend. It was fun. Oddly enough, I was a slut before I even had sex. I had a condition that made sex very difficult, so I didn't have a sex till maybe mid-20s. But even younger than that, And I'm talking 19-20. Few gave me drinks. Clothes came off. It encouraged other people's clothes to come off. Though, it was just a thing. Alcohol meant yay, let's show our boobies. Everyone would see my tits. I would have no problem getting naked. I also gave a lot of BJs. Despite the whole can't have a sex thing, I hooked up with a lot of guys. I just kept my problem to myself. And if I happened to mention it to a friend or something, they would be really shocked. Like, wait, you're a virgin? And it was because everyone thought I was a giant whore. As a teen I was sexually harassed in a very big way, and looking back on it, I think that may have been the reason for why I acted like that. Two things come to mind. In college I ducked the 50-year-old Russian janitor who smelled like rotting food and wasn't that attractive. She worked in my dorm and was missing teeth. Had a lot of pubic hair too. Otherwise she was decent looking. And I went home with a middle-aged couple I met at the opera for $300 in college too. I stole a laptop on the way out too. Went round a guy's house who I had been chatting to for a few months. Slept with him. Then that evening my usual FWB showed up and I slept with him too. I call it a delayed threesome. Either guy knows about the other. Kinda hoping no one I know figures out my Reddit name. Got a couple weird ones. Go decide for yourself. Got with someone I didn't find attractive right before a big test because I was stressed out. Was my second year in high school. Finger my friend's younger sister in a hot tub with him in it. Messed around with my second cousin. In my defense, I only knew her 2 weeks. Girlfriend introduced me to her parents. We went to a nicer bar for dinner. She gets it faced on vodka tonics. Her parents were sitting across from us and she proceeded to give me a hand job. Maintained eye contact with her dad and kept the conversation alive. All while getting an old fashioned under the table. I gave my boyfriend a BJ in the changing room cause I needed to convince him to buy a new pair of jeans. Study abroad. Night 1 everyone goes out. Shorts happen. I'm a drunk mess of a human. Cute guy in the program was flirting with me all night. I was flirting back. Drunk me got some signals crossed and gently touched his leg in a coy and tasteful fashion became grab his junk in the middle of this bar. He helped me home and we dated for 2 years. No happy ending, though. He ended up being a D. Sucked 3 Ds in the course of 5 hours. And the third ended up being my now boyfriend of a few years. He wasn't thrilled when he found out he was the third of that day. Banged 57 guys in the year after leaving my sexually selfish boyfriend. I sniffed my sister's panties once. Boy was she mad. Probably because she was still in them. And our whole family was there. It really made the rest of the funeral pretty awkward. Went to gay bathhouse and was in the porn room jacking off. I wasn't even really in the mood. Just bored. Noticed a lot of the guys were watching me instead of the porn. Didn't want to be rude so I just got gangbanged. Banged a chick in the backseat of my sub parked on a busy city street at rush hour. We were duck buddies. Also horny. Just had a few drinks and neither of us wanted to drive. So we just got to banging. Honestly we had a great rest of the night after that. It takes a lot of the anxiety off of the evening if you just get the ducking out of the way early. I had met 2 guys through Tinder at the same time. I was seeing one of them just as a hookup because he wasn't looking for a relationship. And I was sort of dating the other guy. Me and the dating guy had set up a day to hang out. He texted me just an hour before he was not feeling well. I was a bit upset because he had made some last minute cancels before. So, I called the other guy after that text and asked if we could meet. Slept with him and went home. When I was 20 I was on vacation with a group of friends. First night there I had gone back to our hotel and went to sleep. Friend I was sharing a room with brought back a girl and her friend. The friend got in my bed and woke me up. We ended up sleeping together without ever saying a word. Never knew each other's names. Just a quick duck. Followed by an immediate blood test the next Monday. I said I love you on the first date. Dated a guy because he had a car and money. I was 17. He was 20. Guess it worked out because he just wanted me for sex and arm candy lol. We mutually parted ways after about 8 months. I still remember exactly what was said on the phone. So, are we still dating? I ask. I don't think so. He replies, "Oh okay, I'm gonna go then." I laughed after I hung up because we both sounded so bland, like we were talking about the weather, not ending a 8-month relationship. Not sure if these are classified as slutty, but there are several instances. I'm a girl BTW, slept with an 8 years older married guy, had been kissing 3 girls at the same time practically, had a threesome twice, with different couples. There's a guy with whom I have friends with benefits type of thing going on. I made out with both of his ex-girlfriends in front of him at one point or another. Several times lol. These are more recent ones shrugs. Gave my husband a BJ last night, but it was the first time we recorded it. I felt awesomely dirty. It wasn't until junior year of college that I experienced one of the drunken one night stands that college is supposedly famous for. We started dancing together. Then we started making out. And then she suggestively asked me to walk her home. About 2 hours after meeting we were doing the nasty. I woke up the next morning at her house to find that she had already left, presumably for. Mercifully her house happened to be near my apartment so I didn't have to walk of shame too far. I only knew her first name. Didn't really know anything else about her at all. Now the stereotype would be that the woman would be considered the slut in this situation. However, I'm the one who got approached by her. She is the one who suggested to me that we spend the night together. And I'm the one who woke up in a stranger's empty bed the next day and had to walk home looking like a mess. We ran into each other at another party not even a week later, which was somewhat awkward. Although we got to become Facebook friends and learn each other's full names. She said it was nice but, of course, that it was a one-time thing. Haven't done any one night stand since. Woke up at 3 AM at the same time as my so and we moved together. And half asleep we started grinding slightly. Then I whispered wanna go to the bathroom, so as not to disturb my roommate, and he said yes. We did it in the bathroom without even turning the lights on. Then went back to bed. Who says things get boring after 4 years? I'm female. Keep that in mind. Went to a lesbian's birthday party. Made out with this girl and her ex-GF. Then made out with this girl and her friend. Then the party moves to another house. I got into the back seat of my friend's Mustang with his boss, a female, and we fingered each other and made out. Go to the new house. Made out with my BFF's other boss. Sucked his D. Then had a threesome with him and this girl I had previously made out with. Then I made out with my best friend who is a gay male mayo. Then I went home. Called my duck buddy and ducked him. Pretty great. I was 19 and so ducking drunk. Fast forward 8 years later and I find out my BFF's boss, the male one, is friends with my ducking dad and my dad attended a cruise for that guy's wedding. So awkward seeing pics of my dad shaking hands with a guy that had his fingers in my pussy. Last time my dad pissed me off royally. My dad betrayed me. I told him everything me and his friend did. No regrets. Not me but a friend. Forgot her ID in Canada which means there was no way she could get into the club. Her way of getting in was to show the bouncer her fantastic tits and explain that you have to be 19 to get a boob job in Denmark so she is clearly of age to enter the club. It worked. I posted a question from earlier in the week. Back in high school I used to have a big afro, and a couple girls offered me money to touch my hair. I made $10 that day. Slept with 4 different guys in less than a week across 3 different states. 2 of them were only a few hours apart. At a family birthday party at a country club there was an open bar and I was the only college age guy. Got plastered. Fingered a pretty girl in a little black dress in front of both of our families. My father took pictures and loves to whip them out. Also that night I got a BJ from another girl who accidentally cut my wiener. It still hurts sometimes. Second date with a woman. Fingered her during the Green Lantern movie. Yeah, what else was there to do? Pay attention? I hugged this girl in my anatomy class once. I guess you could say it's getting pretty serious. I dated this guy for a month. He lied to me about something, so I promptly broke up with him and went about my merry way. His brother and I hit it off. We frequented the same circles. I resisted it for as long as I could, but it became clear that this was not a petty crush. I had never felt this way about anyone. Finally, I gave in. We dated for almost 2 years. He cheated on me and lied to me so many times. He hit me. I stayed with him for whatever reason. One day, his brother, the first relationship, was over at his apartment. We all got super drunk and I took Xanax for the first time. Way too many. I ended up having sex with the brother from the first relationship outside while he was upstairs passed out. I was obviously emotionally unstable at the time. But that was the sluttiest thing I have ever done. It was like 7 years ago. And I would never do anything like that again. I lost my virginity in a threesome with my best friend and her BF at the time. The sex was really bad LMAO. Then there was the time I ducked 2 different Craigslist guys in one night. One after the other. Both of them chipped in for weed. Neither knew about the other. Hooked up with my friends just broken up with XGF. Then hooked up with my friend the next night. I don't think they ever found out about that. I went on Omegle and positioned the camera so that it was pointing at my butt. Everyone thought I was a bot though. It's my sluttiest and my proudest moment of my life. When I was 16 I dated a longtime friend. Her dad still calls me son-in-law. 2 years later we ended and 2 years after that her little sister turns 18 and I asked my ex if I could talk to her little sister. She approved so I dated her for about a year and we ended it. After about a year and a half I started talking to their little sister when she turns 18 and again talked to her for about a year before we called it quits. All relationships ended well and we still hang out amongst ourselves. Christmas Eve 2015 they called me for a party and gave me the best Christmas present I will ever get. 3 sisters and me. Apparently they had no idea what to get me so the youngest of the 3 suggested that jokingly and it ended up panning out.